Forward from the 20th of May, tomorrow, 2020, given the knowledge we now have and the capabilities we have, as well as the limitations we still continue to have, we shall move as follows. In addition to the measures I announced on the 4th of May 2020, I now add the following measures in easing the lockdown. However, for these measures which I'm going to talk about here, of easing the lockdown to take place, we must solve the issue of the masks, because we are not going to encourage anybody to go in public without a mask. And I'll talk about those masks later. So once the issue of the masks has been addressed, the shops selling general merchandise will open, provided they are not in the shopping malls, they are not in the shopping arcades or food markets. We cannot allow the opening of these because it is impossible to observe the social distancing in these shopping malls or arcades. That is why they should remain closed for now. As for the markets, we should not allow the mixing of the selling of food and non-food items again until we get a vaccine or a clear treatment for this virus. You have seen how separating food selling from the non-food operations has helped us to go through the bad phase of this crisis. We should maintain this. The non-arcade, non-shopping mall shops that will open must always observe the rules of social distancing at all the time. Do not allow in many shoppers at the same time. Let them line outside, keeping the 4 meters distance, and come in the shop one by one. Secondly, the heroic market women that have slept in the workplace for all these days will be allowed to go home and come back to work daily if they want to. Now, we shall allow the regulated opening of public transport means of minibuses, buses, taxis, provided they carry only a half of their normal capacity. A half of their normal capacity. We hope this can enable public transport to travel, again without the usual overcrowding, which is very dangerous during such times as these. Remember that with the danger of this epidemic, the safest modes of transport are bicycling, using a pikipiki if you are not carrying a passenger, walking, or if you have a private car. Especially the bicycles, they are good for health and also good for the environment. However, this opening of public transport will not be allowed in the border districts of Uganda. The districts which border with the South Sudan, with Congo, with Rwanda, with Tanzania, with Kenya, they will not be allowed to use this public transport for now, for another 21 days. Tomorrow the Prime Minister will publish the list of these border districts. They are known, you know them. but just for the record, the Prime Minister will announce them. So therefore, this public transport we are saying should resume after you get the masks, because you must wait for the masks, and the masks will take 2 weeks to be ready, and 2 weeks will be on the, tomorrow is 19th, 2 weeks, 14 will be like 14 days. 2nd June. 2nd June. So we would like to open for the districts inside the country, to open public transport. The means I have mentioned, the minibus, the bus, the taxi, as long as you carry 50%, but this is when everybody is putting on the right masks. This is when everybody is putting on the right masks. And this is in the districts that are not on the border. And when the taxis reopen, I don't want tea of brokers and all these noise makers in the park. Look for other quiet ways of how you run the market. Since it is impossible to space out the passenger and the border driver, or the passenger and the tuk-tuk driver, for now, the borders and the tuk-tuks will not be allowed to carry passengers. They should continue to carry cargo as they have been doing during the time of the lockdown. 5, bars, nightclubs, hair salons, since they cannot easily observe the rules of Tonsemberera or Tampika, social distancing, will not be allowed to open for another 21 days. And these also include gyms, saunas, swimming pools, etc. The international borders of Uganda and the airport will remain closed so that we do not import additional cases from outside. So therefore, with the opening of public transport, these shops, the ones I talked about, all of them are tied to the issue of the masks. Everybody put on a mask. But because of the logistics, the masks will not be distributed sufficiently until about the 2nd of June, when they are properly deployed. But I don't know whether untill is producing enough already. The task force will be in touch with them, and we don't want the issue of partial supply, giving some and not others, because that one will not solve our problem. It is important that everybody gets, all the adults, so that we all have equal protection. Number 7, with education, the only possible safe action we can do now is to open for the end of educational phases candidates classes. These are the P7s, the S4s, the S6s, the undergraduate finalists, the tertiary college finalists, and the postgraduate finalists. There will be no first term examinations in the schools. The schools should use all the time to prepare for the end of year final examinations. By opening for only the candidate classes, there will be enough space in the educational premises to avoid overcrowding and observe the social distancing of 4 meters from person to person. And yet, the concerned learners will not miss that crucial stage in their educational journey. The rest of the learners should be patient. It is better to stay alive than to lose one's life in hasty actions in dangerous times like these ones. Now, this will need about 2 weeks for the Ministry of Education to plan properly how these people can come. And since many of them would use public transport, that's why also they should go together. By that time, public transport also should be getting ready with the masks. Of course, the vehicles are there. The vehicles are not a problem. The buses are there. But what is not well distributed now are the masks. And we don't want to go public without masks. Curfew from 1900 hours, saa moja ya usiku, until 6:30 hours, saa 12:30 za usiku, remains in place for another 21 days. Hotels, food restaurants can open as long as the clients observe social distancing and there's no air conditioning which spreads the virus. That air conditioning is not good. It's not good at all. I never allow air conditioning, even when it is there, I switch it off, which is the one which spreads the virus. People with private cars will be allowed to drive as long as the car does not carry more than 3 people, including the driver. If we had enough time and space, it may be better to restructure transport in the towns so as to emphasize bicycles, buses, trains, in addition to private cars. When there is a health crisis like this one, these means are safer than the others with proper regulation. The KCCA and the Ministry of Transport should study how this can be done. We should have lanes for vehicles and pikipikis, lanes for bicycles, and lanes for pedestrians, and there should be no mixing of the 3. The phenomenon of pikipikis driving on sidewalks meant for pedestrians will no longer be allowed. Again, these ones also, we need to put on masks. Everything here is tied on the masks, and the right type of mask, not just the improvisations. All the other restrictions will remain in place for 21 days so that we see how these work.